When it comes to Ital cooking, I can't express enough how important it is to make sure everything is washed. We're going to be including some bok choy, aka pak choy, in our Ital stew. So therefore, it's really important to break apart the leaves. See how dirty it is right there? Now imagine if you left it on and you figure you do one of these numbers and you take it off and it's still dirty. We're going to individually remove them and get all of the dirt off as well. Look at how pretty these leaves are, right? I'm going to remove the stems from the pak choy. I'm going to cut it off right here. Now, if you're going to be cooking these, this takes longer than the actual leaf of the pak choy, so you want to place this to the side. However, I'm not going to cook these tonight. I'm just going to focus on the leaf of the pak choy. I got a great recipe. We're going to be exploring a little bit more in the kitchen, okay, when it comes to our vegan recipes. Now, I've had this recipe many times before in the past, both me and my family, and I think it's time that, I share some of these recipes with you guys, all right? We're going to be making a delicious Ital stew. This is going to be a strictly vegan recipe. We didn't come to play around, all right? So, to our nice hot Dutch pan right here, we're going to start off with adding some coconut oil, okay? If you want to add a different type of oil, you definitely can. But like I said, strictly vegan. I'm going to take my spatula, spread the oil around the pan. Now, here's the thing. You may have a coconut allergy, okay? I totally get it. I had a coconut allergy for quite some time in my childhood years, so I totally get it. So if you want to use maybe a seeded type of oil, like an avocado oil, any oil with a high heat intensity, you could definitely use that. All right, it's time for us to create some aromatics. We're not going to be using any powdered seasoning, okay? So to start, I want to introduce some onions to this pan. We're also going to add some green onions, aka scallions. They're both onions, believe it or not, but they both bring a different flavor profile, which is what we're looking for. We're trying to build flavors on top of flavors, and I'm going to show you that you don't need powdered or granulated seasonings to make the magic happen in the kitchen. For some more infused flavor, let's go on with some grated ginger. Grated ginger, woo! When I tell you it's great for stomach digestion, it is great for digestion. As a kid, I remember my grandmother, she used to always make ginger beer with fresh ginger. The best thing on earth. Till this day, I still drink ginger beer. As a matter of fact, I had some natural cane ginger beer last week. Oh, it was so good. Oh my goodness. Gonna add a little bit more because I am definitely in love with ginger and how it smells. It smells amazing. Even though we added a good amount of ginger, it's not going to be too spicy. I'm going to add some bell peppers. Add any type of sweet peppers, whether it be Cubanelle peppers or just ordinary bell peppers, whatever you have in the refrigerator. That's the great thing about Ital stew, to be honest with you, is whatever you have. You know what I mean? Everything goes in the pot except for feathers or deaders. But other than that, everything goes in the pot. Once it starts to saute and the garlic becomes even more aromatic and our onions become nice and translucent, then we're going to add our other ingredients. I'll be honest with you, this meal right here is going to take us probably about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how high we cook this delicious Ital stew. But outside of that, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so delicious. Give it another stir. Check out the colors already. Gorgeous. I'm going to start adding the pumpkin. Give that a good mix up in the veggies as well, along with our carrots. I cut the carrots pretty chunky because I don't want them to break down too fast. Along with our sweet potatoes. Now here's the thing, you could definitely add white sweet potatoes. I love white sweet potatoes. Those are the potatoes with the purple skin. They also go by the name batata potatoes or Korean potatoes. Those potatoes, man, they are so addictive. But for now, we're going to add the yellow potato, not yellow potatoes, but the orangey sweet potatoes. along with our regular white potatoes. And once we're done, we're going to stir everything and combine it. Make sure everything is good to go. We want to make sure the provisions, aka the potatoes, are perfectly combined with the aromatics as well. Oh yeah, I'm smelling that coconut. Ooh, that coconut oil is definitely coming through. All right, for it to come through even more, we're gonna add some coconut milk. I'm definitely gonna leave substitutes for those of us who may be allergic to coconut. But for now, we're gonna add a good amount. We want it to be nice and creamy. So I'm gonna go all in with the coconut milk. Now here's the thing, if you want to use a fresh coconut, all you have to do is grate the coconut, the inner part of the coconut that is, right? The white flesh part of the coconut. And you're gonna add a small amount of water to it. You could put it in your food processor, break it down even more. And once you're done, you're gonna get your cheesecloth and you're gonna squeeze all of that fresh coconut milk into this delicious dish. We're gonna add our scotch bonnet peppers. We're not gonna break the peppers, I just want the flavors from the scotch bonnet. If you want your stew to be really, really spicy, then you could definitely break the pepper. Now here's the thing, I would not suggest that because unless you're feeding yourself and whomever you know for a fact they love spice, then you could go ahead and do that. But if you know you're gonna be feeding more than yourself and you don't know how they're gonna react to the spice, leave the peppers whole, okay? Don't say I didn't tell you. We're gonna add some fresh thyme. Everything has to be fresh, okay? Now, usually when I add thyme, I like to tie it up in a bundle and add it to the pot so that way it doesn't get lost in the mix. But I can't find the twine, so that ain't happening. I also have some pimento seeds, aka pimento berries. I'm not gonna put them in whole because my husband does not like to chew them up whenever they're in the food. Oh my goodness. So we're gonna break it down. And we're gonna actually turn it into a powder. Woo! The aromatics and using fresh ingredients is like none other. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you gotta grab that bottle with the granulated or the powdered stuff because you know you're in a rush. You're pressed for time and it's more convenient. There's times where you just have to say, you know what? I don't care how long whatever it is takes. I'm gonna be willing to get it done. Give it a good stir. We're gonna allow everything to come to a slow simmer. And as the provisions cook and the flavors start to infuse, then we're gonna add the other ingredients. All right, I'm gonna lower the flame and I'm gonna cover it down and we're not gonna disturb it. Let's see what's going on. Wow. Once your pumpkin becomes fork tender and you're able to cut through it really easily, same thing for all of your provisions. Once they become tender, you're in business, all right? It's time for us to start adding our other ingredients, like our sweet plantain, our beans. These are canned beans that's been drained. If you want to use dry beans, you're going to have to soak those beans the night before in order for them to soften up. If not, you're going to be cooking those beans for a very long time, and that's going to be the first thing that you have to put in your pot. First thing. Because dry beans, especially red kidney beans, it takes a very long time to cook. Now here's the thing, if you want to add, let's say maybe split peas or pigeon peas, or let's see, any type of peas basically, or beans, just realize that there's different cooking times because peas cook a lot quicker than beans, obviously, right? Even chickpeas would go good with this recipe as well. I'm gonna add some fire roasted corn for a nice element of flavor and contrast. So their aroma is everything. Woo! You know this is getting nice and thick, right? Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Everything that I'm putting in this pot is not limited. Add whatever you want to add to make it yours. So I'm going to add the pak choy. And these are going to break down really quickly. Before we close our pot, I'm going to add just a small amount of water. and we're gonna allow it to go for an additional, I want to say about 10 more minutes, because I want to make sure everything comes together, and I want it to be, you know, nice and stewy, so to speak. When it, oh my goodness, you know what a good stew is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look really, really hearty. And I also want it to become a little bit more thicker. And that's the thing, if your stew is not to your desired preference, let's say hypothetically it's too thick, add some water, add any type of liquid, okay? If it's too thin, allow it to boil down some more until most of the moisture or the liquid dries out of the pot. And that's just basically it. Let's talk for a second. For a lot of us, eating without any type of seasoning, right? Just using aromatics is just not enough. We gotta be honest. I'm not gonna tell you not to add what you wanna add that's gonna make it even more delightful for your palate. If you wanna add, let's say maybe some veggie bouillon, you definitely can. If you wanna add a pinch of salt, maybe some ground black pepper, you could do that as well. If you wanna add maybe some vegetable broth, why not? You know what I'm saying? But due to demonstrational purposes, and also we want to eat clean tonight, okay? Without all of the heavy processed foods and seasonings and so on and so forth. So this is the way to do it, Ital style. Strictly vegan style. But feel free to add whatever makes your palate happy. Let's add our okras because it's the very last minute. When you add the okras at the very last minute, it's not going to get slimy. And it's going to maintain that beautiful vibrancy. Okay, which is very important when it comes down to vegan cooking. You want the vibrancy of all the colors. You're eating healthy and you want to be able to, you know, the vibrancy is attractive, okay? Let's just call it that. We're eating with our eyes. What we have going on here is super, super hot. So the okras are going to cook. Now here's the thing, I don't have a calabash bowl, okay? But I got me a glass bowl and that is going to work perfectly fine. You know what? Before you serve this up, that's why it's really important to have the thyme tied on a string. If not, you're just gonna have to fish it out. But yeah, back to what I was saying. The whole calabash bowl thing, all right? You know what a calabash bowl is? Let me know in the comment section if you do. But let's taste this and see what's good. Oh yeah. Oh, this is good. I'm getting savory, slight hints of sweet, and I'm getting that savory taste from the scotch bonnet pepper. Okay, and it's not spicy, but it's complementing this dish really, really good. I'm gonna go in for some of that sweet plantain. You're looking for a recipe that's packed with tons of protein, deliciousness, flavor, natural flavors. Definitely give this delicious Ital stew a try. And it just goes to show you that you don't need a ton of heavy seasonings to make something taste absolutely delicious. This is really good. If you're wondering what to serve the stew with, you could definitely serve it with quinoa, brown rice as a side, served along something else, or you could just simply enjoy it by itself. Me personally, I'm gonna enjoy this by itself because it's hearty enough, you know what I'm saying? Not to mention, as the winter months approach, this right here, man, listen, if you're looking for a hearty soup or even stew, you got this right here. Like I said earlier, if you wanna make it a little bit more looser, for it to be more of a soup, then you can always add more liquid. Don't allow it to boil down as much as I did. However, if you're looking for that nice, hearty, chunky bits of provision, okra, and everything, then of course allow the water to dry out, and this is what you'll have. And that's about it, my loves. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm gonna keep these delicious vegan and vegetarian recipes coming your way. Talk to you later.